There's a special kind of pain reserved for people who buy affordable classic cars. Not the pain of a bad purchase, not the pain of getting scammed, but the slow, crushing realization that you just bought a $15,000 car that needs $30,000 in maintenance to be drivable, and another $20,000 to be reliable. And the parts take 6 months to arrive from Europe. These aren't bad cars. They're beautiful. They're exotic. They're exactly the kind of machines that make you fall in love with automotive design. But they're also financial traps designed to bankrupt anyone who doesn't have a blank check and a second car to drive while this one sits in the shop. We're talking about classics that look like bargains. Cars you see online for $12,000 and think, wait, I can own a V12 Ferrari for the price of a used Camry? Yes, you can. And 6 months later, you'll be explaining to your spouse why you need to sell the boat to fix the timing belt. If you've ever been tempted by a cheap exotic on Bring a Trailer, subscribe now. Because we're about to save you from the most expensive mistakes in the classic car world. Let's start with the one that looks like a gentleman's GT and drives like a British electrical fire. Number 6. Jaguar XJS, 1975 to 1996. The Jaguar XJS is gorgeous. Long hood, sleek lines, that unmistakable British elegance. And you can buy one right now for $12,000 to $18,000. Here's what they don't tell you. You're going to spend that much again just making it reliable. The XJS came with either a V12 or an inline-6. Let's talk about the V12 first. It's smooth, it's powerful, and it's a maintenance nightmare. The fuel system is absurdly complex. Dual fuel rails, multiple injectors, vacuum lines everywhere. When something goes wrong, diagnosing it requires a specialist who charges $150 an hour and takes 3 days to find the problem. And something will go wrong. These engines develop fuel leaks, coolant leaks, oil leaks, sometimes all three at once. The cooling system has 47, yes, 47 coolant hoses, and when they're 30 years old, they all fail at different times. Then there's the British electrical system. Lucas Electrics are legendary for a reason, and not a good one. Window switches fail. The climate control stops working. The fuel pump relay dies and leaves you stranded. And finding replacement parts means ordering from the UK and waiting weeks. Oh, and routine maintenance? A major service on the V12 costs $2,500 to $4,000. Timing chain service, $6,000 to $8,000. The XJS is a beautiful car. But unless you have deep pockets and a patient mechanic, it's a garage ornament that occasionally runs. But at least Jaguar tried to make a reliable GT car. The next one? It's like they wanted it to break. Number 5. Maserati Biturbo, 1980s. The Maserati Biturbo is proof that Italian exotics and 1980s turbo technology should never have met. On paper, it's incredible. Twin-turbocharged V6, Italian styling, Maserati badge. You can buy one today for $8,000 to $15,000. And every single one is a ticking time bomb. The engine is fragile. The turbos fail. The head gaskets blow. The timing chain system is a nightmare. And if it fails, the engine destroys itself. Mechanics who specialize in these cars will tell you, budget $10,000 just to make it mechanically sound. Then there's the electrical system. Nothing works. The climate control is temperamental. The power windows fail. The dash lights flicker. And diagnosing these problems is nearly impossible because Maserati's wiring diagrams from the 80s are famously incomplete. And parts? Good luck. Maserati didn't sell many Biturbos in the US, so the parts network is almost non-existent. You're ordering from Italy, waiting months, and paying premium prices for components that should cost $50 but somehow cost $400. The Biturbo is gorgeous. It sounds incredible, and it will absolutely destroy your bank account and your sanity. There's a reason these cars are cheap. It's not because people don't want them. It's because people who've owned them are desperate to get rid of them. But at least Maserati is a premium brand. The next one is literally a Ferrari. And it's still a terrible idea. Number 4. Ferrari Mondial, 1980s. The Ferrari Mondial is the affordable Ferrari. And that should be your first warning. You can find these for $35,000 to $50,000. a fraction of what other Ferraris cost. And there's a reason. Nobody wants them. Not because they're bad to drive, but because they're brutal to maintain. Let's start with the engine. It's a mid-mounted V8 that requires removing the entire engine to do major service. That means the famous timing belt service, which Ferrari recommends every 5 years or 30,000 miles, costs $8,000 to $12,000. And if you skip it, the belt breaks, the valves hit the pistons, and you're looking at a $25,000 to $40,000 engine rebuild. Then there's the electrical system. Ferraris from the 80s have notoriously fragile wiring. Grounds corrode, relays fail, and finding the problem requires a Ferrari specialist charging $200 an hour. Routine maintenance? Oil changes cost $400 to $600 because it requires a specialist and Ferrari-specific fluids. Brake jobs cost $2,000 plus. Clutch replacement? $5,000 to $7,000. And resale value? The Mondial depreciates like crazy because everyone knows these cars are expensive to own. So you buy it for $40,000, dump $30,000 into maintenance over 3 years, and sell it for $35,000. The Mondial is a real Ferrari, but it's the Ferrari that will teach you why cheap exotics don't exist. Speaking of expensive German engineering pretending to be affordable. Number 3. Porsche 928. Here's where I lose some of you. The Porsche 928 is an incredible car, but it's also a financial black hole. The 928 was Porsche's Grand Tourer, a front-engine V8 GT designed to replace the 911. It's comfortable, it's fast, it's beautifully engineered, and it's expensive to maintain. You can buy a decent 928 for $20,000 to $35,000. But here's what you're actually buying. A hand-built German V8 with a timing belt that costs $3,000 to $5,000 to replace. And if it breaks, the engine destroys itself. The transaxle, Porsche's rear-mounted transmission, is robust but expensive to rebuild. Cost: $4,000 to $7,000. The clutch, $3,500 to $5,000 including labor. And the electrical system? The 928 has dozens of relays, modules, and sensors. When they fail, and they will, diagnosing the problem requires a Porsche specialist and hours of labor at $150 to $200 per hour. Oh, and parts? Porsche doesn't make many 928 parts anymore. You're buying from specialty suppliers or used parts from Europe, and they're not cheap. The 928 is a dream to drive, but unless you have a $10,000 per year maintenance budget, it's a dream that turns into a nightmare. But at least Porsche tried to build a reliable GT. The next one is just baffling. Number 2. Cadillac Allante. The Cadillac Allante was supposed to be America's answer to the Mercedes SL, and it's one of the most questionable classic cars you can buy. Here's the concept. Cadillac designed a luxury roadster. They had Pininfarina build the bodies in Italy. Then they flew the bodies to Detroit in a 747 to be assembled. It was an engineering and logistics marvel. It was also a disaster. The Allante is plagued with electrical gremlins. The digital dash fails. The climate control stops working. The convertible top motor dies. And because these cars sold in low numbers, finding parts is nearly impossible. The Northstar V8, which powered later models, is infamous for head gasket failures. And when that happens, you're looking at a $3,000 to $5,000 repair on a car that's only worth $8,000 to $12,000. Market value is terrible. You can buy an Allante for cheap, but you can't sell one for anything. So you're stuck with a depreciating Italian-American hybrid that needs constant repairs and has no resale value. The Allante proves that complicated engineering, low production numbers, and Cadillac reliability don't mix. But if you want the ultimate cheap-to-buy, catastrophic-to-own classic, number 1, BMW 850i. The BMW 850i is one of the most beautiful cars ever made. Pop-up headlights, sleek coupe design, a 5.0-liter V12 making 300 horsepower. And you can buy one today for $15,000 to $25,000. Do not do this. The E318 series was BMW's flagship in the 1990s. It was packed with cutting-edge technology, electronic throttle, drive-by-wire, adaptive suspension, and more electronic modules than any BMW before it. 30 years later, all of that technology is failing. The V12 develops cooling issues. The wiring harnesses crack and short out. The electronic modules, which control everything from the transmission to the climate control, fail and cost $500 to $1,500 each to replace. And there are dozens of these modules. The rear subframe bushings wear out and require the entire rear suspension to be disassembled. Cost: $3,000 to $5,000. The transmission, a 6-speed manual or 5-speed auto, requires expensive rebuilds. The cooling system has 30-plus components that all fail at different times. Routine maintenance? You're looking at $2,000 to $3,000 per year if nothing breaks. But something always breaks. The 850i is a technological masterpiece. But it's a masterpiece designed with 1990s electronics that are now 3 decades old and impossible to fix affordably. You buy it for $20,000. You spend $15,000 making it drivable. You spend another $10,000 over 2 years keeping it running. And then you sell it for $18,000 because the next owner knows exactly what they're getting into. The 850i is the ultimate garage queen. Beautiful, complex, and financially devastating. Here's the truth about these 6 cars. They're not bad. They're just expensive. Every single one of them is a genuinely great machine when everything works. The XJS is a smooth, elegant GT. The Biturbo sounds incredible. The Mondial is a real Ferrari. The 928 is engineering brilliance. The Allante is a fascinating experiment. And the 850i is one of the most beautiful coupes ever made. But they all share the same fatal flaw. They were built with cutting-edge technology that's now decades old. And maintaining that technology requires specialists, expensive parts, and endless patience. These cars aren't for hobbyists on a budget. They're for people with deep pockets, backup vehicles, and a genuine passion for keeping complicated machines alive. So here's my advice. If you see one of these cars for sale at a too-good-to-be-true price, it is too good to be true. That $12,000 Jaguar XJS isn't a bargain. It's someone else's problem that they're desperate to offload. That $15,000 BMW 850i isn't a steal. It's a $40,000 restoration project disguised as a running car. If you absolutely must own one of these classics, go in with your eyes open. Budget twice what you paid for the car in maintenance over the first 3 years. Have a reliable daily driver. And find a specialist mechanic before you buy, because you're going to need them. But if you're looking for a classic car that won't bankrupt you, buy a Miata, buy a C4 Corvette, buy a Fox Body Mustang, buy something with parts availability, simplicity, and a community of owners who can help you. Because these 6 cars, they're beautiful, they're desirable, and they will absolutely destroy your bank account if you're not ready. If this video just saved you from a $30,000 mistake, smash that like button and subscribe. We're going to keep exposing the classic car world's biggest money pits. And drop a comment. Have you owned any of these cars? What was your maintenance horror story? Be honest. We want to hear the nightmares. Because the only thing more expensive than buying one of these cars. Learning the hard way why they were so cheap in the first place.